Hey everybody, so today's video is going to be my X-Men Days of Future Past review. Um, really quickly, I'm going to mention this because I forgot to do it earlier. Um, another part of the reason why my room tour hasn't been put up is because my phone is being weird. It's telling me I don't have enough space. So when I make a video, I have to delete it and then, upload it and then delete it first. You know what I mean? To make the space, so I don't know how much room I'm gonna need to do the room tour. So I'm just getting all my movie reviews out of the way while I still remember what the movie was about. Okay, so let's get started with X-Men Days of Future Past. So I actually think this is the best X-Men movie yet. I'm so happy they brought Bryan Singer, who was the first director, the first two X-Men movies, back. Because I think he did an amazing job on those first two, and then after that it just kind of like that, right? If you like the other ones, that's perfectly okay. I personally only really liked the first two, and the first two would only be the ones I would say would consider making them my favorites. But I think he did an amazing job. I think he understands the source material better than the other directors did. Maybe it's because he is a gay man. That could be part of the part of why he understands it, because I think he's also Jewish too. I might be wrong on the Jewish part. But both him and Ian McKellen know what it's like to be ostracized for being different, right? And so I think he understands the source material very well, and can make these characters work and be believable as people who are being treated unfairly as less than somebody else, right? I'm also glad he's back, and he also did a really good job with having to deal with all the continuity errors. Luckily, they're dealing with a storyline where they traveled back in time, so pretty much, spoiler alert, sorry, everything that's happened in all the X-Men movies except for First Class has been erased. So it's very convenient for him to come back and say, well, the mistakes that we made continuity-wise, or at least were made after he left, are done. So they're over. Well, anyways, I think he did an amazing job. There's actually, if you remember my Spider-Man video, I complained about Mark Webb using slow motion. Here, Bryan Singer did it too. But it actually worked because it was for the character Quicksilver, who, if you don't know who that is, he runs really fast. So, and I guess if you're maybe a DC fan, it's like he's like the Flash, in terms of his power. And they had him it was in a jailbreak scene, so it looked really cool the way he was helping, Xavier, Wolverine, and Magneto get out of this jailbreak without having to kill the guards. So it worked very well with that slow motion, unlike the other one. It actually worked for the storyline and for the way his powers were. So it actually worked. So overall, the camera movement was excellent. There wasn't any time where I felt, ugh, I can't watch this, it's giving me a headache. There was no shakiness. Again, the slow motion actually worked in this case. And that's really it for the director. I think he did an amazing job. I'm so glad he's back. I'm glad he's doing X-Men Apocalypse. That's the next X-Men movie that's coming out. At least I think it's still coming out. I hope it is. I'm pretty sure this one made a lot of money. If it didn't, I don't know why. It's better than, I actually will say this, it's better than The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I would put it in my top 5 films that have been released so far, the best ones. Let's see. Let's keep going on. Shall we get to the acting? Actually, let's talk about music really quick. I think the music was really good. I'm glad, because Bryan Singer's back, he has brought the themes that he used in the first two X-Men movies, like da da da, that one, what we associate with the X-Men. It kind of sounds very similar to the 90s cartoon theme, that came out Let's see, actually there's two X-Men cartoons that came out in the 90s. So I'm talking about X-Men the animated series. And then it had the most it's the one with the most famous animated theme out of the X-Men cartoons. So, because it kind of sounds a little bit like that. So I like the music better. It was good because it sounded like what you heard in the first two X-Men movies. So the music was really good. I like the usage of 70s music during the time period because that's when it takes place in the 70s. Overall, the music was good. Let's see, this time, obviously the costumes should be talked about. I enjoyed what the X-Men costumes look like. Again, it's different than what you see in the comics, which is something I had talked about in the Spider-Man review. Part of the reason, I guess, let's see. Sorry. I was thinking about what I was going to say. Anyway, so I think part of the reason why there's certain costumes I'm okay with changing and others I'm not. It's just because it just depends on the comic book that it's from. Like, again, I talked about with Electro, his costume just wouldn't work on film, and the X-Men costumes also probably really wouldn't work on film. They're very bright colors. With Spider-Man, you can actually at least use a dark blue and a dark red, and that's how they actually do it. Captain America's new suit, and it's a darker tone of the colors. As long as it's red, white, and blue, that's all I care about, right, for Cap. But they look really cool. They have at least, the X-Men symbol. Of course, the only problem I do have with the costumes for the X-Men is that, unlike the comic book counterpart, they're not individualized. They look kind of similar amongst, like, all the females look kind of the same. The male costumes look all the same. So, you lose some of that individuality. The 70s costumes were really good because, of course, the time period, it's not too hard to really do 70s clothes. You can still find them pretty easily in thrift stores. Actually, I think a lot of the time they come back, right? The old fashions from like the 80s and the 70s are coming back, so it's pretty easy to pull off 70s costumes and make them look authentic. So that's makeup. Mystique looks great, as usual. They always done a good job with Mystique's makeup. The Beast actually looks better this time, I will say. At least the young Beast. The young Beast looks better. The new Beast had like a weird thing with his eyes. It looked like they missed part of the makeup right here, like under the eye, like that, because it was a bit of a skin color. And the effects were amazing. As usual, there was only one scene of criticism with the visual effects. Bad CGI, horrible CGI. Magneto is taking the rails from a railroad and taking the metal and sticking it into the Sentinels because they're not made out of metal, right? Because why would you make your thing that targets mutants made out of metal when you have one that can control metal? So it was just horribly done CGI in that scene. I don't know what happened there. It was just really bad. So let's see, back to acting. Let's see, Hugh Jackman was amazing as Wolverine, as always. He's always good as Wolverine. I think he was a lot better in this one than he is in the individual Wolverine movies, because I think the writing was a bit more solid. And so James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender, again, amazing like they were in First Class. So they're amazing. Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, when are they not amazing? They're always amazing. I find it hard to believe when they're not amazing. I don't think they've ever not been amazing, actually. I loved it. I loved the friendship between Magneto and Xavier. Both the young and old one made that relationship so believable. They did. And you can believe that, they're friends and they're enemies. And I really like how, in the future, Magneto comes back and chooses to die alongside Xavier. I think that was very nice because he gets stabbed. Sorry. Spoilers. Let's see, who am I missing?